You look like you're like half as short as me.
Yeah,
You're slouching. Oh, that sounded like a chair breaking noise.
it's the wood that makes it good, Jerry.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Mark and Chris show. That's that.
Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. We've been getting some more fans recently. It's good.
Yeah, been building. It's really encouraging. I'm glad we've
It's all thanks to you guys. Do
stuck
more
to
of
our
it.
guns.
More of it.
Also, quick thanks to Scifi Miller from our Tinder episodes for buying me this mug because she really hated that mug, and I thought I'd put it in the same episode. So we just sort of
We love your mug, Sophie. Love your mug.
yeah. This is the last time you'll see this mug on this screen, unless we pre-recorded another episode and haven't released it yet. Well, we don't know. Anyway.
Tastes good though. Tastes good. I like your
Today's tea selection is Lipton,
orange
I think it
and
is.
orange and cinnamon.
Orange and cinnamon. Enough of that small talk.
What are we
Enough of that
discussing?
small talk.
What are we discussing today, Chris?
Today we're talking our dream team for making a movie and what that movie would be, whether it's in a franchise, whether it's a new idea, and you've got some sort of
remake
idea.
or a reboot or something.
It's just based on the fact that we had a lot of fun on the Cozy Mysteries episode. We'll put a link in the bottom here. And the guy's a police officer. Oh no!
What about the waiter? The waiter who's whispering in his ear is the one that threw.
Oh, and he was undercover. And you can go watch it. We had a lot of fun creating our own Cozy Mystery, and we thought maybe we'd just spend this whole episode talking about what we'd make for a movie, our ideal movie. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. We're saying our producer, our favourite writer, and our favourite director. They can be the same person. They can be all one person.
An auteur, if you will.
Yes. And what the general idea of the film you'd want it to be, so it could reflect their qualities, I guess. So my choice is, it's a DC Batgirl movie.
Chris, you're a man after my own heart. You know how I feel about all this.
It's a
DC
Batgirl
stuff.
movie based on the new like high school fiction with Batgirl elements.
Okay.
And
Now, when you
I haven't read much of
when you
it,
say new, do you mean
it's within the last couple of years that they rebooted it into
with the New 52?
Yeah,
So not
New
Convergence.
52.
No. Okay, that's interesting.
All right, so are you familiar with the production company Marv? I think you pronounce it, or Marv?
No.
Okay, well, it's a Fox studio.
Well, you know how I feel about Fox.
I know.
That's
But
another
listen,
episode
hear me out. Matthew Vaughn's main studio, the director, producer, writer.
Well, I know how you feel about Matthew Vaughn.
I'm a fan. So the only thing is Marv. I'll say Marv from now on. Marv is a Fox studio, and obviously Batgirl's a DC property, and they go with Warner Brothers most of the time, right? But in this ideal world, I would have Matthew Vaughn as the producer-director, co-producer and director, and as my writer and co-producer, it would be Jane Goldman.
Who did what?
Okay, here we go. So Jane Goldman and Matthew Vaughn have both worked on Kingsman. She was the co-producer and writer. He was the producer, co-producer, writer, co-writer and director.
Well, I know how much you enjoyed Kingsman.
I do enjoy Kingsman a lot. Now, going back even further...
You haven't read the comics and stuff, didn't you?
No, but I got the Blu-ray and it's got a comic in it, so I have to read that.
That is cool.
Jane Goldman, Matthew Vaughn again. Kick-Ass. Jane Goldman co-produced and co-wrote it. Mm-hmm. And Matthew Vaughn co-produced, co-wrote it and directed it. And that's another movie that I quite enjoy.
Mm.
Now, again...
What were your thoughts on Kick-Ass 2?
They didn't have much to do with it. I think they co-produced it with a bunch of other people, and that was the only connection they had with the sequel.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
And you found it dissatisfying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did. Moving on.
Moving on.
X-Men reboot.
Oh.
X-Men.
Oh, bit contra-topical.
X-Men First Class.
Mm.
Jane Goldman co-writer. Matthew Vaughn co-writer and director. X-Men Days of Future Past. Jane Goldman, Matthew Vaughn, both co-writers, but the director was Bryan Singer. Is that his name?
Yeah.
He came back.
Well, I really enjoyed X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past. I thought they both nailed it.
Matthew Vaughn produced and directed the film Layer Cake. Have you seen Layer Cake? Mm. He also produced Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
That's one of my favourites from my youth.
I thought I might bring that up because I thought you would have seen it, but I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't. Focusing down, Jane Goldman, Matthew Vaughn. Jane Goldman would produce, write. Matthew Vaughn would produce, write, direct. Kick-Ass style-esque sort of thing with Batgirl, New 52. And yeah,
Who would you have play Batgirl?
I don't know, I haven't really had a think. I think the perfect thing about a lot of the films that they have been to do with is they've gotten unknowns for the main characters, and then gotten established actors for the later ones. Maybe they could have like a... See, I don't know the New 52 story of Batgirl, but I could imagine that there's some characters that they could put people in, like how Nicolas Cage was in Kick-Ass as sort of like a jaded superhero. But I think it would be cool to have Batgirl because also she is a girl, and that I think they've shown that they can do stuff like that in X-Men for Jennifer Lawrence playing
Mystique.
Mystique, yeah, stuff like that, just sort of like the powerfulness, but also
but not like
just, that's good. I like that.
They're just kicking ass, and the fact that they happen to be a woman is inconsequential.
Yeah, like Kingsman Kick-Ass style, like grounded in
rather
reality.
than like, oh well, I'm a woman superhero, so I better use my feminine wiles to go and get information.
Yeah,
it's just going and like kicking ass and taking names, just like anyone else.
But like grounded in reality, grounded violence, that kind of stuff, and then. Yeah, realistic sort of situations.
But I can see the thing about set in high school as well. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I didn't know about the new Batgirl. I assumed that's what was set in, but but that's reflected across Kingsman and Kick-Ass as well, because they're both young characters at the start of the film, and then they develop into this sort of what they are afterwards. I don't know if they've ever worked out how to make a good sequel, and whether if they make a Kingsman one, it'd be any good. But I'd really like to see the first one, and I don't think it matters about any sequels after that. I'm just thinking about the first one and how cool they could make it.
Cool, good pick. Batgirl. My Holy Trinity producer,
writer, tell us.
Director. Director is David Fincher, the chap behind Fight Club, Gone Girl, Panic Room, all sorts of all the things. He's by far my favourite director. He's a producer as well. He's produced things like House of Cards. So yeah, a producer and director, both David Fincher. Now with regards to writer, he's worked with a number of screenwriters over the years, one of which is Andrew Kevin Walker, who wrote Seven. Another chap is this guy called David Coep, who's written things like Panic Room and I want to say one of the Jurassic Parks, maybe Jurassic Park 2. Both of them are very structural. He's also worked with Aaron Sorkin, the guy that did things like Newsroom and he wrote Social Network and stuff like that. And always very like intelligent kind of writing. So any of them to be the screenwriter would be okay, and I'd be happy with, because they've always got good stuff about structure, and structure is important. But the film project that I want to see rebooted by these chaps is Forbidden Planet. The 1956 sci-fi film starring Leslie Nielsen of Naked Gun
Not
fame.
Liam Neeson.
No, Leslie Nielsen.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Sorry, it makes sense because he was in that, and then he could have gone to Star Wars.
Forbidden Planet's a beautiful sci-fi movie and very big budget for its time, and had a lot to do with convincing studio execs that throwing big budgets at sci-fi could actually have good returns on the investment. It was the first movie to have an all-electronic music soundtrack. They had a lot of theremin in it, but what's interesting is that when the movie was released, or when they were getting it through the credits, the Film Musicians Scorers Board, or whatever tribunal, refused to classify it as music, and so they said, instead of music, musical tonalities or melodic tonalities by musician. A lot of that. But basically the plot of Forbidden Planet is these... it's loosely based on The Tempest by William Shakespeare. And these people are just travelling out, and then they get a distress signal from a planet, and then they go down there. But the distress signal says, don't come down here. So they go and investigate, and there's this sort of like middle-aged mad scientist there who's kind of suspicious and has something to hide. And his beautiful young daughter, who has a pet tiger that she may or may not be telepathically linked with. Now, the plot thickens when they decide to stay there, and every night this almost mystical, invisible force seems to come through and wipe out the camps. And then what they eventually discover is that the mad scientist discovered leftover technology from a civilization that used to live there that invented this thing called the Instrumentality Project, where it's just this gigantic machine that anything that they imagined would automatically be created. But because every night when he has dreams and there's these subconscious issues that he has about people coming to take away his daughter, he manifests this force that looks like her tiger to wipe through the camp and destroy all these men that are after his daughter. Now, the reason I suggest David Fincher for this...
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
...is because for a long time, David Fincher has been trying to make 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Okay.
But for such a big budget thing, they always keep checking other projects at him of like, oh no, we need you to come and make another Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, or no one else is going to make Gone Girl like this, can you do this, or we need someone to produce this, or something like that. And so it doesn't look like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is going to happen because, as you know, with movie studio stuff, the longer a project goes on, the more people pull out of it because they're like, it doesn't look like this is going to happen, I'm going to abandon ship so I don't go down with it. And I can see... Again, because of the rebooty nature of it, I know they've previously made 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but making Forbidden Planet, if you could get the right people behind it, could actually build a lot of momentum. I think the time is ripe.
Anyway, that would be quite an interesting double bill to go and see, these two movies that we've created.
Batgirl and Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
I think they could go well together.
Yeah.
I think
in one summer.
they'd be both very stylistic.
I'd convince you to go and see Batgirl.
You wouldn't need to convince me to go and see
Then
Batgirl.
you'd convince me about what this concept is. And then remind me who David Fincher is, because I seem to always forget.
He did a lot of music videos and a lot of ads. And I think in 1990, at the MTV Music Video Awards, out of the 4 nominations for Best Music Video of the Year, he had directed 3 of them. And he won it.
Obviously. Yeah, it's a high probability of that happening. Ratios and all of that. So, Batgirl, Marv Productions, Jane Goldman, Matthew Vaughn, and yours was...
Forbidden Planet.
Reboot.
With directed by David Fincher and produced by David Fincher and written by...
one of his friends.
Or me.
Or Mark.
Forbidden
Give
Planet.
Give him a call. Yeah. Leave in the comments, David, if you want Mark to be on board with that. He's got some good ideas. And also, while we're in the comments, make sure you, if you're not David Fincher, just leave us a comment saying your holy trinity of a producer, writer, director. Let us know.
This discussion opens up a whole other can of worms. Maybe you guys have some thoughts about Hollywood's prevalence for remakes or reboots, and whether that's good or a bad thing, or whether they're doing it right, or whether they need to come up with new properties. Or
yeah, and maybe next time we can come back one other time and talk about our dream TV team.
Ooh.
Or a dream video game team. That could be quite interesting.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah. I'd have a lot of input on that one, I think. Anyway, like, subscribe, share if you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below if you have an idea of one of these movies that you want to share with us. I'm sure we'd be wonderfully surprised to hear from you.
Can we share this on a page of someone who's always going on about reboots?
Exactly, yeah.
Food for thought.
Yeah, Batgirl fans.
Yeah.
And yeah, join us next week as we talk about... insert name of thing we're talking about next week.
What's the bar down the bottom?
That's the audio bar.